Alright guys, back with another video for you today. I'm talking about the latest release from the house of Diptyque Orpheon Eau de Parfum, this one right here. Now I've been wearing this one as a sample. Actually it's a 10 ml mini sample that I had received when I went into Diptyque several months ago to buy a couple of candles. And I was enjoying wearing it. So finally this is out and I went and picked up a bottle. And I'm going to let you know all about Orpheon Eau de Parfum, brand spanking new release from Diptyque. And also I'm going to go a step further. Since Olivier Pescheux, who created this, has created so many fragrances for Diptyque, I thought I'd put together a second part to this video, in the same video, of 10 of my favorite Olivier Pescheux creations for Diptyque ranked. So today, you're going to find out all about Orpheon Eau de Parfum, and then you're also going to find out about my 10 favorite Olivier Pescheux fragrances ranked. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, today I'm talking about Orpheon, the latest release from Diptyque. Comes about maybe a little over a year after Eau Capitale launched last year. Although they did have another fragrance launch this last year, end of last year, called Automnal Rosa, a limited edition release. Now, I don't remember if Olivier Pescheux created that one. Either way, I've left that one off because it's no longer available. If you can find it, get it because it's a beautiful, fresh, spicy rose. But this is the latest release, Orpheon, today, and I'm going to let you know all about it. This is actually one thing I'll let you know before I get to the actual review and then the 10 fragrances from Olivier Pescheux. This actually is very cozy in the way it wears, but it's not a warm, gooey kind of a fragrance. It's more fresh, but it's very, very powdery. But that's Orpheon. I'll let you know all about it. But before I do, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please do click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So I have a top 20 Diptyque fragrances video that I put out last year. If you haven't caught that, please go catch that. It does feature most of the fragrances here today, except for this, in that video that I'm going to talk to you about, the Olivier Pescheux fragrances. Surprising that Olivier Pescheux has created so many fragrances for Diptyque. I don't own every single one of them, but every single one of these fragrances I'll let you know about today was featured in that top 20 minus this one which just came out. So this is Diptyque Orpheon Eau de Parfum Perfumer Olivier Pescheux. The price and the size is 75 ml, $188. Let me know if you're a fan of Diptyque. I'd like to find out who's a fan. Diptyque doesn't get a lot of love in the fragrance community, and I've been a fan for the longest time. In fact, they've had a store here in San Francisco since the early 2000s. I guess I first discovered Diptyque also back then, around then, so I've been a fan since then. And they do have some great releases. But Orpheon features notes of juniper berry, tonka bean, cedarwood, jasmine. So they only credit 4 notes on the website, on Diptyque's website. And from the notes, obviously you can see it's a very fresh, floral, woody composition. There's no warm notes in there, and I guess the closest to the warmest note would be the tonka beans in there, and I wouldn't really classify that as an ultra warm note. So the overall experience of this fragrance is fresh. But it doesn't act like a fresh fragrance, as in like it's not like a summery, fresh, citrusy kind of a thing. As you can see, there are no citruses listed. Most likely there are some listed or used in this fragrance, but it's not about the citruses. For me, this is mostly about, well, it's actually mostly about all 4 of the notes that you're experiencing here. It is a floral experience. The jasmine comes in quite a bit. And jasmine, to me, it's powdery. It's the kind of jasmine that doesn't go into the very indolic territory. It's more of a very powdery flower experience here, and again, it's not the animalic or indolic kind of jasmine where it's really, really pungent. There's lots of floral touches here, but you're not experiencing that like very, very ripe jasmine smell in here. The juniper berries in here comes in, and of course juniper berries has a very fresh aromatic experience, so the fragrance has lots of aromatic touches. So it's a very kind of like a slightly metallic, slightly minerally, kind of a earthy, woody, aromatic smell from the juniper berries. Lots of woods in here as well, but how are they creating this powder? So they've created some kind of an accord in here to provide this powdery touch. It's an overly powdery experience, and the the idea of baby powder comes to mind, because for me, I get a lot of very baby powdery kind of a smell, but more on the woody side of the baby powder smell. So if that's the kind of smell you like, this is one that you would definitely check into. But this has an interesting inspiration. Orpheon is a bar that was at the intersection of Boulevard Saint-Germain, which that's the address of Diptyque, and obviously the name of one of their fragrances, Boulevard Saint-Germain, also created by Olivier Pescheux, and the corner of Pontoise. I guess it's at the intersection of these two streets. This bar, Orpheon, was known for, I guess, the owners at the time in the 60s, the owners of Diptyque, I think it was 3 of them, used to go and hang out at this bar at the end of the day. So lots of smoking was happening there, cocktails. So basically, Olivier Pescheux pretty much captured the atmosphere of that bar in the 60s. The Saint-Germain's known for jazz music. I don't know too much about it, and on my travels to France, I've been so many times there. I've only been to that part of the Paris 2 or 3 times at the most. Somehow I end up on the one side and never go to the other side, which I know there's lots of cool things to do there. And you know, I think the fragrance is perfectly captured with that idea, because it's powdery, right? When you're at a bar, it's smoky, lots of smoking happening. Obviously, it was the 60s, and I remember when I first started traveling to France, lots of smoking was happening up until the end of the 2000s, when I think it was outlawed in bars and places like that. But you can experience the smoke rising, you know, effervescence from champagne or sparkling wine drinking. So all of this stuff, the atmosphere, the ambiance of the bar is pretty much captured here. I think they've done a great job. It doesn't get too tobacco-ish, but there might be like light hints of it, because when I'm wearing the fragrance, there is a little bit of a, I guess, patchouli-esque kind of effervescence, because for some reason I find patchouli sparkly. There's a sparkliness about it, but very earthy and woody at the same time. So you do have a little bit of that in here. Perhaps there's a minute amounts of it under there. But maybe there's also a little bit of aldehydes, because aldehydes also has effervescence. But you do experience kind of like a sparkliness with the fragrance, and just powder floating in air kind of captured in the fragrance. So I think that he's done a good job, you know, capturing the atmosphere. A couple of things about this one also. It doesn't scream loud. It's a skin scent to me. In the end, it's kind of musky and powdery skin scent. And it's fine like that. It depends on your mood and things like that. And fragrances, after all, you have to see what the notes are and smell it and see if you like it. There's a huge list of folks I know out there that love these skin scents, and this one definitely wears as a skin scent. It's not a loud fragrance. It's not a fragrance that you're going to wear and walk down halls and get attention. That's not the kind of fragrance this is. It's more subdued. As I said, it's a skin scent, so people will have to get close to you and smell you to enjoy your fragrance. Otherwise, this is not the kind of fragrance you would wear to get, you know, attention, kind of a thing. So there is that about this fragrance, but when you're wearing it, it's ultra cozy. So it's definitely a cozy experience. And the whole idea of baby powder, I felt like, I remember baby powder as a little kid. My mom would, you know, use it not only on me probably, but I remember the smell on my siblings, younger siblings, and that smell has left a major impression on me. And there's something cozy about that smell, and it's definitely captured here in this particular fragrance. So I'm enjoying this one, and of course I'm going to add it to the list coming up with the 10 fragrances from Olivier Pescheux. Where does it wind up on the list? Now, he's got some excellent fragrances and great scents here. Unfortunately, this does not go up to the top 5, but you know, I've got 10 of them here. It's between 10 and 5 in the list, but I think you guys should definitely go check it out. Those of you that like skin scents, powdery fragrances, musky fragrances, woody fragrances, aromatic, of course, and you know, floral. All those are kind of like themes in this particular fragrance that anyone that likes at least 1 or 2 of those should check it out. And that's Orpheon review for you. Now for the fragrances from Olivier Pescheux. Starting at number 10 with my 10 favorite Diptyque creations by Olivier Pescheux. We're starting off with L'Eau de Neroli. This is one of my very first fragrances I bought from this house. Prior to buying a fragrance, I was always into the candles, and I probably went through, I don't know, 4 or 5 bay candles because that was my favorite back in the 2000s. But this is L'Eau de Neroli in their original bottle. I still have a little bit left here, and I'm starting to list off with this. It's a beautiful Neroli fragrance, and it really does capture the whole Neroli essence beautifully. So L'Eau de Neroli has Neroli, lots of citruses, orange blossom and bergamot at the same time. It's a beautiful citrus floral fragrance, perfect for hot days. I think it's really a perfect scent for the hot days, and if you don't know it, do check it out. It's just a really gorgeous combination of the juicy citruses and the beautiful flowers, and perhaps I get a little bit of the green petitgrain note in here as well to give it a little bit of a bitter greenness to the woodiness at the same time. L'Eau de Neroli, great scent from Olivier Pescheux for Diptyque. The next one is 34 Boulevard Saint-Germain, and again, as we discussed, the street for Orpheon, it's at the intersection of 34 Boulevard Saint-Germain and the other street. But this came out in the late 2000s, and immediately I went and bought a bottle of it. This is the second bottle because I think it was around 2009 or 2010 I bought my first bottle. And I really love the story of the fragrance because the associates at Diptyque were telling me. So basically they've created a fragrance in celebration of Diptyque, and they've pulled notes from different Diptyque fragrances to create this one. So it's, in the end, it's a woody, spicy, ambery experience, and of course, you know, they've got woods in here for something like Tam Dao, cinnamon, cloves for something like L'Eau, their first fragrance, sandalwood again, once again for Tam Dao, amber notes, maybe perhaps vanilla from Eau de Well. All kinds of fragrances are pulled, notes are pulled, and it's a beautiful fragrance. Now I have 2 versions of this fragrance on the list. This one's at number 9. One of them is at the top. It's the Eau de Parfum version of this, which is a lot more resinous. But you know, there's a brightness about these 2 fragrances that really sexy. Most likely there's some patchouli in here, or some kind of a patchouli amber combo that's actually really sexy to smell. So that's 34 Boulevard Saint-Germain, created by Olivier Pescheux. The next one is Vetiver from Diptyque in the Eau de Parfum concentration. This is the only version I have of this, and you know, I never bought the original Vetiver or Vetiverio from Diptyque. I immediately went to the Eau de Parfum when it came out. This one's a combination of a very earthy, grassy vetiver with grapefruit, rose, mandarin orange, and patchouli. It's a great scent. It just happens to be at the bottom more because I have more favorites, you know. But if you're a vetiver lover, definitely check out the Vetiverio from the house of Diptyque. What I like about this vetiver, it's a deeper and darker vetiver. Even though in the Eau de Toilette version it was a lot fresher, here it's deepened up even further because in the Eau de Toilette the vetiver itself was also this kind of like deep and rich, woody, grassy vetiver. Still, everything around there, around the fragrance was fresh though. Here, you've got the deepness, the richness, the earthiness, the grassiness, a lot more intense with the other notes. So that's Vetiverio EDP. The next one is Orpheon, and I've added it here at number 7. 7 for Orpheon. You know, it's a great scent. It's very cozy and comforting. But you know, I have another fragrance from Olivier Pescheux from Diptyque that's also powdery, and I kind of prefer that one a little more than this. Something about this one is a little more subtle, you know? It's just a very subtle experience in comparison to some of the other fragrances. So in the end, this one ended up at number 7. But as I was saying in the review of this fragrance, you might like something like this more than others. It's just a matter of taste. But for me, it's here, and find out more about it in the review if you're skipping forward to the countdown of the fragrances. And then next we're going to Otsens, and Otsens is a beautiful orange blossom, bitter orange, angelica, and juniper. This one actually has a powdery touch, and the powdery touch in here reminds me of the powdery touch in here. I almost feel like there's jasmine in here, and I think it's the angelica note that's giving us the powder. And then Going further ahead with this one, Otsens, the Angelica, also kind of reminds me of the Angelica in Prada's Luna Rossa Black. But lots of orange blossom in here, lots of bitter orange. It's different than L'Eau de Neroli, even though both are kind of similar in that genre. This is a lot syrupy, ambery. This is a lot more powdery. So there's a lot of powdery touches here. Totally different wearing experiences, totally different fragrances. In the end, it's citruses, but beautiful. This is really, really beautiful. And I like the whole powderiness in here. And I meant to mention that this reminds me of this in the review, but now I'm telling you guys. So something about it in here does remind me of this one, and I think it's just the powdery experience. So that is Otsens at number 6. At number 5, it's Fleur de Po. This is the one that also is powdery. And again, I prefer Fleur de Po a little more than Orpheon. And Fleur de Po, for me, it's the ambrette. The ambrette is a killer sexy note, killer musky note that I really, really love. So Fleur de Po is all about iris, musk, aldehydes, ambrette, rose, and carrot. It's a powdery experience, it's a musky experience, an irisy experience. Rose also comes in, but it's not that strong. The ambrette has light fruity touches in there, slightly medicinal and a little bit boozy. Carrot also has the powdery touches. Carrot has similarities to iris, and overall it's a powdery experience. Once again, both of these are very powdery, but this one has a lot more warmth than this one. This one is a lot fresher. So if you like powdery fragrances that are warmer, try Fleur de Po. If you like powdery fragrances that are fresher, try Orpheon. But this is really, really great, guys. I mean, I really love Fleur de Po. I think it's a great scent. It reminds me of a few other fragrances that are similar, but in the end, I really love this one. So that's Fleur de Po from the house of Diptyque, created by Olivier Pescheux. The next one is, before I tell you the next one, I'm also going to let you know that if you have caught my top 20 Diptyque fragrances, things have shifted around a little bit doing this list in comparison to that list. My taste changes all the time, so when I was putting this list together, things did slip around a little bit. So this might have been higher, but now it slipped a little bit. This is Eau Capitale. Eau Capitale is rose, patchouli, pink pepper, bergamot. It does have that typical rosy chypre smell that I really, really love. It has classic touches. It has patchouli, lots of patchouli green smells and things like that. But in the end, it has the ambery touches in there. Typically, chypre fragrances are bergamot, labdanum, and oak moss. And I think here, even though they might use like minute amounts of oak moss in here, I think the patchouli is using the place, or is the placeholder for oak moss. But beautiful. If you like classic chypre style fragrances, definitely try Eau Capitale. A great scent at number 4. The next one is 34 Boulevard Saint-Germain in the Eau de Parfum concentration. Now both of these are great. The Eau de Parfum is a lot more resinous, like lots of deep, rich, chalky resins come through. This one is lighter, it wears lighter, it experiences thinner, but in the end, this one is really, really sexy. There's like a patchouli thing happening in here that they don't credit. And I could be, being tricked by different notes to act like patchouli, but something in here is really, really sexy. But in the end, it's lots of woods, cinnamon, sandalwood, amber, lots of amber. It's very ambery, and as I said, it's got a little bit of a chalky, resinous undertone there. Vanilla cloves comes in as well. Really, really beautiful. Love wearing this one. It is also a lot stronger than the original, and that's why it's at number 3. So 34 Boulevard Saint-Germain at number 3. Now this one's shifted around. It was at number 1 in my top 20 list. It's at number 2. This is Benjoin Bohem from Diptyque, created by Olivier Pescheux. It's a beautiful scent, but it's been replaced by another one. And also, guys, when I went in to pick up Orpheon at the Diptyque store, here's the thing with these bottles, these fragrances. The only one that's going to be selling is Benjoin Bohem. Opone, Homage, Chimomante are discontinued, and once they sell out, they sell out. They're gone completely. Benjoin Bohem is the only one that's staying around. So if you like the other fragrances, do get them, because once they sell out, they sell out. They're gone forever. But Benjoin Bohem stays, and it's a toss-up between number 1 and number 2. This was number 1 in my top 10, 20. Here it's number 2. Maybe it's a seasonal thing. I'm going into a summer, feeling like it. But this one, lots of benzoin, lots of styrax, sandalwood, patchouli. Really, really beautiful notes together. Really, really warm and cozy. The sweetness from the benzoin is really, really delicious. It's vanillic, but it's not quite, vanillic, syrupy, kind of gooey, because there's some resinous touches in there along with the vanillic touches. But the patchouli kind of adds a beautiful contrast to it, and everything with patchouli in it I find very, very sexy to begin with. Styrax is also another resin. A combination is just beautiful. I think this happens to be, not that I think, I know for a fact that Benjamin Bohem is my favorite benzoin heavy fragrance. I think it's a wonderful creation by Olivier Pescheux. So that's Benjamin Bohem. At number 2, can you guess my number 1? I mentioned one of the notes already, patchouli. So Tempo is my favorite now. So it was a toss-up, it was a toss-up. I could have gone with Benjamin Bohem at number 1, but I went with this one because I'm pulling for it a little more. And I'm loving the greenness about this one. Lots of patchouli here. Mate, clary sage, pink pepper, violet leaves. It's slightly ozonic. It's earthy. It's green, sparkly. Just really a great, great green patchouli fragrance. I absolutely love this creation. I think it's probably definitely top 5. It's here, right, at number 1, along with Benjamin Bohem, top 2 fragrances from this house. And I really, really love the patchouli in this fragrance. It just really works with my chemistry. Wonderful stuff. Anyway, Tempo is my favorite fragrance from Diptyque, created by Olivier Pescheux. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching my top 10 list of Diptyque fragrances created by Olivier Pescheux. And also, thank you for watching my review for Orpheon from the House of Diptyque. What are your thoughts on this new release from Diptyque? And what about this list? Are you a fan of any of the fragrances? And if you are a fan of these 10 fragrances from Diptyque created by Olivier Pescheux, how would you put the list together? Put a comment down so I can find out. Either way, appreciate you tuning in today to watch this review. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Otherwise, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.